Hey guys, and welcome back to probably the only Christmas video I will be able to post this year. You read the title, it is all about vegan desserts, and I took a lot of inspiration for these recipes from stuff that I used to eat as a kid, or just things that you get in Germany during the holiday season. Yeah, let me know if you're making any of these for Christmas. I'm here today to give you guys a quick announcement that is really going to date this video. It is 12 days until Christmas, and I decided to have a 12-day ebook sale on my ebook. So if you don't already know, I wrote a recipe ebook a short while ago with a bunch of bonus recipes that I know and love. So if you were thinking about getting it but haven't done so, then now might be a good chance to do that. Enough self-promotion, let's get into the video. For this first idea, we're making my version of German winter cookies, also called Spekulatius. They're my favorite thing during the holiday season and super easy to make. Mix together all of the dry ingredients. Spelt flour, as always, raw sugar, salt, and the spices. Those being a mix of cinnamon, allspice, cloves, ginger, and cardamom. Next up, add cold vegan butter that has been cut into cubes beforehand and 2 tablespoons of unsweetened applesauce. Mix it all up using a spatula first or a wooden spoon, and then switch to your hands. While kneading the dough, add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of non-dairy milk at a time. Similarly to making pie crust, you want to distribute the butter evenly throughout the batter without letting it melt completely. It's just easier to do this on the surface. Knead the dough for a couple of minutes until you have a nice big ball of cookie dough. This doesn't have to be super smooth, mine clearly isn't. I wrapped it up in parchment paper and placed it into the fridge. The next day, it looked something like this. Generously sprinkle your surface with flour. Warm up the dough using your hands. Either roll it out using a rolling pin and then do what you would do with sugar cookies, or do what I did, which was rolling it into this baguette type shape and then cut it into 1 centimeter thick pieces. I got 20 out of this. Take each piece of dough and then flatten it a bit with your hands before placing it on a baking sheet. Make sure your oven is preheated to 170 degrees Celsius. Traditionally, the cookies have some type of beautiful pattern on them. I tried my best to be aesthetic here. Bake the cookies for 12 to 15 minutes until golden brown. Let them cool off and harden for a bit before serving. I know this kind of looks like a 5-year-old did it, but I'm especially proud of this one. Moving on. This recipe is for a layered cherry cookies and cream dessert. It's made up of 3 components. Part 1, the cashew cream. To ensure absolute smoothness, I first boiled some cashews in water for an hour and then let them sit in that water overnight. Add the drained nuts to a food processor along with plain, thick vegan yogurt. Go for the thickest one you can find. Add in the juice of 1 lemon, raw sugar, and a pinch of salt. Blend until super smooth. This stuff is addictive. For part 2, we're going back to the winter cookies. So here I'm using the store-bought kind. If you do not have these available where you live, you could use any kind of basic vegan cookie or vegan graham crackers and just add in some wintry spices. So place the cookies into a food processor and pulse it for a few seconds. You don't want powder, you still want some chunks in there. Now onto part number 3, the cherries. Make a quick cornstarch slurry, mixing together a tablespoon of cornstarch with 1/4 cup of water. To a small saucepan, add frozen cherries, the cornstarch mix, and a bit of sweetener of your choice. Bring the saucepan to medium-high. Once it's bubbling, let it cook on medium for like 6 to 10 minutes or until you achieve a jam-like consistency. Now assemble the desserts. Even if it's a bit messy in the beginning, these do look great afterwards, no matter what. Serve them right away or keep them in the fridge for a few hours beforehand. Recipe number 3 is so easy, but so good and honestly kind of healthy, but it doesn't taste like that at all. It is gingerbread bites. To a food processor, add some dates that have been soaking in water for at least 15 minutes. Also add oats, a pinch of salt, candied orange peel. Substitute that for just real orange peel. Ground up hazelnuts, ground up almonds, and a little bit of non-dairy milk. I forgot the most important part, which is cinnamon and gingerbread spice. Now this goes into the fridge for at least 1 hour. I took it with me on a 4-hour bus ride first, and the dough still survived, so that's good. Okay, on to the next day. Take out the dough and roll it into little balls. In the meantime, melt down some dark chocolate along with a teaspoon of coconut oil. Dip each gingerbread bite into the chocolate first. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. And then place it on a plate or a small baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. Put this into the freezer for 10 minutes. And that's it. Make sure to keep them keep them stored in the fridge. Okay, last but not least, here's a cake. It's kind of a hybrid between a British Christmas cake and a German fruit cake, also known as Stein. So regardless of what this exactly is, it's delicious. First off, make sure your oven is preheated to 170 degrees. Then grab an 8x8 or a 9x9 inch springform pan and brush it with melted vegan butter or coconut oil. Combine all the dry ingredients: spelt flour, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, gingerbread spice, dried ginger, and vanilla. If you're using vanilla extract, just add it to the wet ingredients in a sec. Into a separate bowl, squeeze in the juice of half a lemon. Add unsweetened applesauce, plain vegan yogurt, raw sugar, non-dairy milk, and lastly, melted vegan butter. Then pour the wet into the dry ingredients. Last but not least, fold in raisins, candied lemon peel, the orange equivalent. Again, if you don't have either, use the zest of an orange and the zest of a lemon, and maybe add some more dried fruit like dried cherries. That would be good. Also, if you want, throw in some chopped almonds or hazelnuts. Now bake this little guy for about 90 minutes. After the 45-minute mark, make sure to add some aluminum foil on top to prevent the top layer from burning. As you can see, I added mine a bit too late, and so my top got a little crispy, but that's okay because we're just gonna cover it up with frosting, which is so good. It's basically the same thing as the cream part in recipe number 2. However, the ingredients have a slightly different ratio for this one. I'll have all the measurements down below as always. Last Saturday, I took this cake with me to a friend's vegan dinner get-together thing. And that is it for this last recipe. Once again, quick reminder that until the 24th of December, my ebook is only going to be $12 as opposed to the usual $20. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you very soon. Bye!